Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses and we want to change that.
It's a fresh week at Slow Home Studio and we're going to be following up on last week's design project. We had a question about Jody's 470 square foot apartment. We actually had a lot of comments about that size of unit, particularly as it relates to dining spaces. So we picked one. We're going to try and talk about that. So the question was, I enjoyed following the design process with Jody's apartment, but think that having a dining room in 470 square feet is not really possible. I have a similar size studio apartment that I'm going to remodel and would like a dining space, but can't seem to make it fit, no matter what I do. Any creative suggestions? And that's from Dana in Portland, Oregon.
That's a really good question because it is true because, you know, in our slow home criteria, we always talk about dining spaces, but you have to be appropriate in terms of the scale of the unit that you're working in when you're designing them.
Every slow home needs a place to dine, but that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be a room.
Absolutely.
So we've got one idea here, which is to just put stools at the kitchen and have that.
And the only problem with that, I find that even small scale like loft apartments always have some sort of a dining space that's other than the eating bar in the kitchen.
Yeah,
they always try to do that because from a real estate point of view, I think you have to consider that because it feels like something's missing.
For me, this isn't good enough.
Yes.
I think it's a great idea, but not as the only place to dine.
Yes.
This one's better.
Yeah, so this is where the dining table is actually designed into the millwork of the kitchen. And in this example, it's just coming off the island. And in the next example, they've got a table that extends off the end of the kitchen.
Too.
I really like this. I think the trick here is, of course, it's lower than the kitchen counter. So it gives you the sense that you're actually having a table.
And also, it's a different material.
Yeah.
It's the glass. It just feels better. It feels more like you're actually at a table.
So this is interesting because we always draw round tables in our apartment lofts for dining. They seem to work better in terms of circulation because the square or the rectangular table take up more room. You've got to get around them. This seems to fit better.
I agree. Yeah.
So we've got two examples of that. You can also push them a little bit closer into the corner. Now, if you do have a rectangular or square table, this is an idea in a small space apartment loft that you can do, which is to push it up against the edge of the wall.
I think that's a smart idea. It's not really intuitive, and it looks tough in a drawing, but it actually makes sense. And what it allows you to do is circulate across that.
Because the circulation is really the key. You don't want it to be an impediment.
No.
So this is a banquette. So again, in a small apartment loft, you're using the outside walls as an edge to the table, and if you build something in like that, it saves space. And on the second slide there, this is also a room divider, so this could also help with the living room
nice.
furniture.
I really like that. I also like the way that image folds around the corner.
Yeah, and then this is more of a Murphy bed idea, and this is something that you would pull down and you would use when you were dining, and then you would push it back up so the dining space wouldn't be there all the time. This is from Dwell magazine, and this is showing a studio loft apartment with some seating, and then the dining table is just tucked into the kitchen with a bench.
I think those are all really interesting ideas. Don't forget that what we need you to do is to work on the project for Roy and Tina. This is the image that we've got of their kitchen redesign. We introduced it on Friday. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the suggestions that you've all had, and maybe we'll talk about ours as well.
And I'd like to remind everybody that the second edition of What's Wrong with This House that John and I wrote is available for sale on the website. If you haven't picked up a copy, we encourage you to do so.
See you.